All right, my friends, here we are. Maybe the window capture isn't though, huh? Maybe window capture is not there. No, here. Yes. Now it's still all messed up, Kraai. It's still all messed up, but I know why it's messed up. Because I was doing a little vid myself the other day, so let's just make it a little bigger. You know, just improves the situation so no one complains. You don't want to complain. Okay, so it's been a busy week at the dojo. Actually, a video, I just have it out right now. And Alex Gustafsson says, I'm torn. Do I do this stream or the YouTube vid? So actually, let me do this. Let me post the YouTube vid over here. Got a little grief myself here. I go over here and I say, for 6 minutes, 24 views. That we, I'll just tell you guys a quick funny story. So we have this guy, a video editor. He's great, but he's French. And so his English isn't always correctamundo, if you know what I mean. And so on the thumbnail, instead of saying it's here, he writes, it's there. It's there. Anyway, that's just a fun little story. So go, here's the YouTube video link. You're not allowed to leave the stream though. You got to stay here and watch this business. That's just for later. Also, muy importante, we have this book that came out, dude. I'll talk a little bit more about that as the stream rolls along. And King's Ambit is in the YouTube chat. One of my spiritual animals, what do they call it? Avatars? Okay. So, in fact, what I want to do is, do we have a Twitch command that says book? Let's say if I do this right. I'm not very good at these things. No, that didn't work. Is it Xclam book? No. Oh, there we go. No, that's not it. So maybe we don't have a command yet. If somebody knows about that. Pepperchest got his book. Madarkadong says book. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, we got the book. And the vid that I posted in the chat there, that is the link to the vid I did about the book. And so, super cool. And I'll talk more about it. What was the book? It's very simple. We have had the question over and over again. Dude, you need to do something a little bit more concrete in terms of how you analyze your games. So, we all wrote an essay that's in the book. But I think the core of the book, the beautiful thing about the book, is that we then give 5 amazing annotations from each cohort. And I think that's really what people should follow more than anything. Because, if you're rated 600, I don't think it's going to help you much to look at my annotations. It might be cool to look at my annotations to my games. But if you look at somebody who's also 600 and sees their journey in their annotations and how they did it, I think that's just much more helpful and interesting. Okay, so let's get started on this beautiful show. First up, we got Ben C. Dawkins. And Ben C. Dawkins graduated with quite a bit of work there. And he writes, the most helpful thing about the program is how it has served as a vehicle for personal accountability. I have a place where my study is documented, and within the dojo program, the work I'm documenting is solid, fundamental, and useful. Oh, this is good. I went from videos and a buffet-style study of openings to a steady diet of tactics, basic endgames, analysis, and more tactics. I can tell from my thought processes over the board that I'm a different player than I was when I joined. Beautiful. One quality of life improvement that I could suggest is some sort of sparring partner matching system within the site itself. I'm not on Discord a lot due to work, so I miss a lot of communications from there. It would be cool if there was some kind of looking for button that could match you up with someone either in your cohort or one above or below. The button could match people for endgame sparring, analysis, etc. Okay, now let me just say with this that you are not the first person to want this buddy system thing going on. Pruess really wants it. He's another sensei here. And I just find myself, it's too much, as an introvert. If I want to imagine myself as a user, I don't want the site to tell me. I don't want the site to do Match.com for me. Now, if the site told me like this is the person you need to play against, then that's a different thing. Pruess is thinking more like a study partner who's also a sparring partner. But now, before we get carried away, let me say something, Ben, about how we imagine it working at the moment. Okay, so you go to calendar, and you can look at anything here. Let's see here. So these are dojo events, but we want to go all events. And where's my all events? Oh, not all events. Availabilities. Meetings. What's going on? We want it all in there. So if I go all events, okay, what I'm not, maybe I'm confused. So these are all the different things. All cohorts, bookable meetings, all types. There we go. Okay, so here's a bunch of people. I don't know why it's so hard. That are putting themselves up for being bookable. And there's quite a few, but let's say I click on Willard here. Willard is looking for these cohorts, and then Ben, you would say to me, that's not my cohorts, right? I get it. Who's calculation training? This is Falk's calculation training, good. Who's this guy? This is Safuya. Safuya is a little bit closer to you, Ben. But here's the point. We want more and more people. Let's look at Joker P flat. We want more and more people to use this. And then furthermore, the more our site grows, the more active users we have, the more people are going to be like, oh, I'm going to go look. Now, actually, check this out. If I go 300, 400, it says these are available for 300, 400. And this is like the under 1,000 games review thing. This is not for 300, 400, though. What is this person? Oh, there you go. Look at that. Look at that, Ben. So we got somebody for you. This guy, TWR, wants to analyze the games over here. Yeah, here he is over here. That guy's amazing. And that's somebody, if you contacted them, they would be like, yeah, sure, we could do sparring or whatever you want, Yeah. In any case, this is a big thing from the beginning of the dojo. This was like the big, let's say, problem, because as Quad is talking about it kind of a laughing way, about it being like a dating service, it is like we have to match people, and we have to facilitate them getting together to do the work, right? So that's a long-term thing, and we are working on it. We are working on it. In fact, I'll tell a quick story, and then Kraai, you got to start this show, or else it's never going to end. The famous Jack Stenglein, who's now in charge of really all things website, he came to us and started building out this calendar as the first project, and then it just turned into more and more projects, and now he's like a full-time dude over at our site. But that was the original impetus, was to design this thing in a way that would help facilitate people getting together. And it's this part of the website, I still think in a lot of ways is our weakest, just because we don't have enough people coming here to use it, right? Okay, Kraai, go back, buddy. Go back. King Zambit says, are any of my games in the book by any chance? Maybe. Nose posted an index, and maybe I can post an index soon at some point too. All right, let's go back. We're going to go check out Mr. Ben C. Dawkins. Oh, look at Ben C. Dawkins. So we're going to give him a follow. And he moved away from doing non-dojo work to this stuff. By the way, there was an inner battle in the dojo because I wanted that white stuff. Like, let's say this was, maybe he was playing Blitz or Rapid, non-dojo time control. I want it to present as orange, but with a line through it, because this white stuff doesn't tell me anything. And so I think that's going to happen. We had a big meeting on it. I had to fight for it. I think I won, but the dev team has to then, do it, which is a whole other thing. All right, this looks amazing. Also really cool. The dude did the work and went up. All right, has done some tactics tests. They seem right around where the dude is at. So we go clubs. South Carolina, great. A club for Palmetto State players, great. There's a club in South Carolina. I can't exactly remember exactly where it is, but there's a club in South Carolina that's active in the dojo. I don't really know South Carolina. I don't know. Okay, we're going to look at a game here. I'm going to choose the longer one here. So let's choose this one. And what do we got here? Let's see this. The time isn't there, so we're going to go game review. This is the 4th or 5th game with Mr. Dean. He likes passive setups. We're going to be flipping it because this is Mr. Dawkins is black. Little weak. Now he trades off your good. Well said. Yeah. Queen d7, fine. c5, poor, right? I mean, a3 is poor, right? c5 is fine. Good move. Poor, not developing their coconuts. Okay. Good. I like that you're developing. We did have a problem here. We did have a problem. He can trap your knight here, though, unfortunately. So let's just bear that in mind. He could have trapped your coconut. So that was something to be aware of. And now he could still, well, okay, so now he wants to trade. As you said, Mr. Dean likes to trade. He also doesn't like to develop. c4, no. I don't like it. I want you to put your rook over here. Develop. That's just poor, losing a pawn. Thank you very much. Now you're doing great. Okay. f6, I don't like it. I want you to play a5 to open up your rook. I want you to play bishop f6 to open up your bishop. And here you're missing a rook here, smacking the pawn. There you go. Good move. Oh, now you got him, buddy. Bang! How about rook f1 now? Queen h5. Knight f3. That isn't it. Let's take it. Bang! Bang! There we go. Checkmate! Checkmate, Mr. Dean! So a couple things there, Ben. That was great. I like that you mostly developed your pieces. Okay, so I think you have some good religion around that. And one of the things that you'll see at a higher level, once you get up there, right, is they will steal your knight. So, for example, here, this looks correct. Yeah, and then you write it. You write it, actually. You said it right here, that if he had played f3, you would have been in bad shape. So one of the things to say here is at a higher level, what we want to say is probably, if that's the case, then we don't want to take it, and we want to play queen c7 instead, right? And the other thing I just want you to get religion about is, in general, pawn moves are not developing moves, right? So, you could go back, you could play rook c8, you got all kinds of nice moves that would develop your coconuts. Fauger says, I don't see the new book in the club list. Is that just my poor eyesight? I don't know what the club list means. Okay. Joy says, I don't get it. I only see the Saturday and Sunday classicals and the graduations on the calendar, even with no filter. No, it's in there, buddy. We can go look in there. And then the cohort list of books. The new book is not in the cohort list of books. That's true. the new book, though, can be used to study what we call the cohort games. That's one of the requirements. I actually want to say, before we go to the next person, that when I went to calendar, it was a little hard for me to find everything too. But if you go over here and you click on the cohorts and you say all cohorts, this is what I'm getting, Joyce. This is what I'm getting. I kind of want to see more than this, and I can restrict this by all kinds of ways to make it more, to get rid of stuff. In particular, if I wanted to show it by cohorts, I can add cohorts too here, you see, right? But it is all there. Screen, Jesse, screen. Very good. Thank you. All right, let's go back. This is Ethico. Apico. Apico says, happy to go through my first graduation. Biggest learning of the month. I win more when I play less. I think playing lots of 10-minute and 15-10 games helped me immensely when going to 5 to 650 on ChessCom because it took the sting out of losses. Okay. Good. Since reaching 650 or so, playing shorter games has been counterproductive since it encourages bad habits of rushing through moves that deserve more thought. Note, 90 to 95% of the 16% non-dojo activities are endgame tactics from 1001 endgame exercises for beginners. I worked on that for two reasons. First, I'm still waiting for everyone's first chess workbook to be delivered, whereas this one was available in my local chess bookstore. Second, I had noticed a slump of struggling to win endgames from what looked like better positions. In terms of what games to review, I'd love your thoughts on the game against D. Fullerps or Mockingbird. I feel like the one against Kulika is less interesting because my opponent made a lot of mistakes. I found the one against De Fullerps very interesting because I made a few really bad moves thinking they were good ones. Okay, we'll definitely take a look. Now, do I know 1001 endgame exercises for beginners? I feel like I have a book that's maybe the same thing. But I have so many books, and that one sounds like another book. So my guess is that's a little advanced for where you're at. Okay, but if you enjoyed it, that's fine. And I do think everyone's first chess workbook is going to be really good for you. All right, let's go take a click. Fico, we'll give her a follow. And look at this. Since she joined the dojo, she's been killing it. Look at that. Going with the heat map and everything. Looks great. Looks really good. So up to 533, that's a beautiful graph. She's done some tests. Tactics look good. This looks poor, so that would be something maybe to work on, right? Just some basic tactics. All right, clubs. French. Oh man, I don't even want to talk about it. I was watching this, listening to this podcast New York Times podcast about the trial that's going on there. Oh my God. Okay, wait, Kraai, don't get distracted. Games. Okay, so now she just told me, and now I got a D. Fullerps. There's D. Fullerps. So let's click on that. Let's see if we got a time graph. We do. Now, the first thing we want to say, you already know what I'm going to say. Both people moving way too fast, right? So when we talk about the mistakes later, what we want to say is you would have had a much better chance of not making those mistakes if the time graph didn't look like this, right? Your opponent, too, is playing basically like it's a 5-minute game. Okay, so game review. Here we go. So far, so good. Fine. Boom. This move made me hesitate. It felt threatening. Okay, good. Now, one of the things about when you play opponents at this level is they will consistently, let's call it, make threats, right? And usually they're superficial, like this one. The black isn't doing anything to you. And there's a variety of ways that you can go about this. So you talk about the computer saying bishop f7. That caught my eye. From a human point of view, bishop f7 is really scary to me because I'm like, okay, first let's show the point. Here's the point. And then I'm going to win the knight. At least that's what I believe. But like if I take this, if I 100%, it's still a little frightening because bishop takes rook, knight takes pawn, and I believe in white, but I'm scared. I'm scared. There's all kinds of things happening to me. So one of the things is you could do a variety of things, but what you played I really like. If anything, we would say you'd want to move a little slower here. But what I like about this move is your opponent is not developing a piece with knight g4, and you are. Great. Knight d4. Are they developing a piece? No, they are not. Now, you played h3, and what I want to stress about this move h3 is that shows me that you're terrified of this knight, and really that knight isn't doing anything to you. So, you could do a variety of things. Bishop f7 now looks much simpler because now there's no tricks over here. Now, maybe you could say, Kraai, that's just too advanced for me, this bishop f7. Maybe. But look, you only spent 35 seconds on here. That's too fast. All right, so here we go. Knight e3, fe3. Can't remember if I saw the rook could capture back and decided to take with the pawn. I like that you take with the pawn. Now the knight has to move. Develops your queen. Great. One thing I want you to see too here is you're up in development. That's great. That's great. Now you did think a minute here, and that's good. And you played queen g3. To me, queen g3 doesn't make too much sense because black wants to make this move anyway, to get the bishop out. And all queen g3 does is make a threat. So now you looking at the computer says rook f1, and that would be my move too. Not because, and it's very unfancy. There's a lot of computer moves that are fancy like that bishop f7, but this one isn't. Because we're just making a threat. We're putting the rook on the file, basic chess. And it's a little uncomfortable for black. I don't know how they defend the pawn, Okay, so queen g3, queen f6. I don't like queen f6. It runs into both knight d5 and rook f1. Good move. All right, here we go. Now rook f1. And you write, I really like this position. Yeah, you're doing great. c6. Okay. Now, I think what you're doing at Pico is you're like analyzing the game and then looking with the computer. But, right. The key thing we want you to first just see is that knight f6 is possible. The next thing to see, though, that's really important is that your knight, when it goes back to c3, just on a positional basis, it's now dominated by this pawn. So that's the unfortunate thing. So it's kind of like maybe the way to go about it and spend more than 30 seconds thinking about it is you could say to yourself, oh, I don't like my knight on c3. Is there anything else I can do? And maybe that's when you come to think about knight f6. Okay. So here we go. Knight c3, b5. Okay. b4. Poor move. Now it's important to see that the reason this is a poor move is that you want to move your knight. Your knight was poor there. And I'm not happy about this one either. You write, not super happy that I have to move my knight to the side, but seems like a decent move. And the problem is, well, if they just move the bishop, say, here, then your knight is offsides. So I would rather just move the thing over here. And then, you can move queen to talk to here. You can bring the knight in. You can do some fancy things. Okay, so let's... But knight a4, okay. They make a mistake, d6, and now you should just win a pawn. On c3. This looks weird to me now, not what I was thinking. I thought either they capture and I capture back, or I can play d4. But wait, we got queen takes e5. There's a coconut. Pure coconuts hanging all over the place. All right, so you're going to hear it anytime you do the under 1,000 show. It's going to be a lot about people either giving away their coconuts or not taking the coconuts. And here we're definitely dealing with a case of not taking the coconuts, right? It's not only a nice coconut in and of itself, but like we're threatening this. It's pretty annoying for black. Here's a nice way in which the game could end. Queen b6 to save it. Boom, no save for you. Oh no, mate. All right, c3. This one scares the bejesus out of me because now this pawn is hanging. Oh no. Now if your opponent had moved a little slower, they might have seen it, but now this bishop e6 happens super fast. Now you could say to yourself, oh, that's weird that people are moving so fast. But something I want to stress is, like when this, I've seen this on the graduate show a lot, is when you're just kind of starting out, your mind isn't ready to do big things, and you're kind of like just moving. And by you, I mean the players at this level, but especially you can see it in your opponent, right? Moving super, 4 seconds. This is a complicated position. There's a longer game going on. You got some time. Okay, rook a d1, rook b8. Why aren't we taking the pawn on e5? Oh, yeah. So it was pretty much my only long-term strategy. And what I want you to see about that is when you started this whole thing with c3, you were obsessed with the break d4 as being like the thing to do in the position. But consider this, like, besides the fact that it's blinding, maybe that's the first important thing to say, that it's blinding you to seeing that all of the black's coconuts are hanging. Also, just from a strategical perspective, though, when you play d4, you're freeing black of all these weird coconuts. This kind of thing deserves a name, right? I don't know. We got names for a lot of different pawn structures, but that one deserves a name. I don't know what they call it. The corridor. Get a little corridor running through here. I don't know. There should be a name for that one. All right, so d4, snip, snap. Snip, rook takes. Okay, now rook takes f1 would probably be a little annoying to face. Queen a5, that doesn't make any sense. And now you played queen d6, and you did it quickly. In general, the move you should be looking for is rook d7. That looks very painful. Put the rook on the 7th. All right, queen d6. e5. Super. Well, they spent almost a minute. Good move. We got her there, right? Boom. And now, boom. Another move I thought was necessary, but turns out to be very bad. Okay, now I wouldn't call this an endgame, by the way. This is a very delicate position. If you don't like b takes c3, you should tell us what you should do, right? And why it's wrong. So the computer, I think, is telling you it's wrong. And the reason is check to the miserable king, and we're going to be separated from our coconut. So I think what we do is we go snark and snook, and we make this threat, and let's say they go here, and then I think we have the nicer position because our pieces are more active. But what does your opponent do? They blunder. Would they be blundering if they moved a little slower? Probably not. Now, let me stress something. And this applies to all the under 1,000 business, right? These games are decided when somebody blunders something. And, of course, it helps to move slower. But what we're dealing with in terms of a learning curve, right, is an awareness of what controls what. So even if on most moves you get it right, if you get it wrong on one move, like this guy does, it's all the way over. It's gone, right? So making it to 1,000, is all about that square control. Now, there's a lot of ways to get better square control. Obviously, practice, game review, right? Just reviewing the game and being like, oh, this guy was hanging coconuts all over the place and I just needed to take them. The mate in ones, the mate in twos, fantastic for getting a grip on the position. And any kind of tactics. But one of the things I want to say about tactics that's interesting to me, and this is only recently that I've come to understand this, is when you do tactics at the under 1,000 level, even if they seem kind of complicated and weird, the point is not so much learning the tactical pattern. I mean, it's helpful. The tactic is to get that grip on the board, because these games are not, this is not a complicated tactic. The same thing with taking on e5 or black taking on d3. It was just a hanging coconut, right? So it's like that process of not hanging stuff. Okay, great. Let's move on. Boom. Boom. Next up we have suspended. Uh-oh. Let's go. Grad show. Open link. Oh, suspended's doing great. Something that sounded sinister. It's suspended, right? Like, oh, that's sinister. There's nothing sinister about an adult improver from Norway, though. Suspended has been doing their work. This looks great. Also, beautiful graph. And looks great over here. Tactics are looking fine. And we got some clubs. Norwegian Dojo, nice. Say hello to Magnus for me. And then we got some games. And, oh, there's a FIDE opponent, dude. Look at this. A FIDE opponent. 1780. Holy moly. All right, let's give this a click. So, do we have a time graph? Nope. So, we'll go game review. Good. And I just want to say I love what you're doing here. So many other people would be talking about what the database said and yada yada. And really, we just need to be doing what you're doing, right? Depends the pawn, develops the dark square bishop. Great, great. G3, beautiful, beautiful. You see, this is what I'm saying. Black is playing deep theory without knowing theory, just by playing developing moves. Good move. And now you got a choice. Let's see what you did. C5. Fine. Fine. There's other moves to do. C5 is okay. Let's just say, in fact, any move that's principled here will be fine. Let's list them. B6, C5, C6, Knight D7. Knight C6 looks weird to me, but I'm sure it's playable. DC. All those things make sense to me. I like Bishop D7 less, but even that, I don't like Bishop D7. That's the only one that kind of makes me squirm. All those other moves are fine. Okay, so C5, snip, snop, snook. And now what we've done is we've transposed in what's called the Tarrasch variation. Fine, you don't need to know that. Okay, and on Knight C6, you say that's too complicated? Let's say your move is fine, Bishop E6. Bishop E3, okay. And now you got to make a choice. You said, you know what I want to do? I just want to develop. Fine. Fine. You guys, this guy's playing somebody who's rated 1,200 points higher, just developing his coconuts, and he's doing fine. Rook C1, and now C4. Fine. Okay, fine. All right, you're doing great. B3. All right, now it's going to get frisky. Okay. This move, B3, I'm not 100% sold on this move. Some things to appreciate now. We're in a moment, let's just say everything up to now, you could say to yourself, look, we could debate it, but they were developing moves, they made sense. Now we have our little moment of, let's call it crisis, because there's a lot going on all of a sudden. this pawn will now be a potential pass pawn. There are weaknesses over here. But white is making a claim that white is going to play in the center, right? And maybe this could be a thing. Maybe this could be a thing, right? So we have a very dynamic situation here. And you talk about knight b6 and bishop a3. And right, bishop a3 looks like white has made a mistake. This b3 thing looks real frightening to me from white's perspective. And boom, that's what the computer sees. Honestly, you know, this 1700 should have seen that. They should have seen that. Notice too, though, from white's perspective, you put him under a little bit of pressure here. What is he supposed to do? Maybe knight g5 or something, right? But b3 is a mistake. Okay, knight b6. Here would be great to know how long you thought about things. Knight e5, we're going to call that a good move, even if bishop a3 is still a thing. Bishop b4. This is incorrect, I think, because, well, one, I'm worried he's going to win a pawn. So pawn takes, and now he's won a pawn, and now I think we're in big trouble. Yeah. So, yeah, now we're in big trouble. Okay, so snip, snap, queen b3, good move. Bishop takes, queen takes. Rook takes seems a little bit more natural to me. And then b6 is a mistake in some ways similar to his b3 mistake because you're inviting that passed pawn to have a party. Now I want to stress, your position's nasty. Probably best is bishop h3, and you can follow it up with rook e8 and maybe a knight e4 someday. b6, boom, good move. That's a mistake because now he's got that. I don't like bishop g5. I don't think that does anything. So the question becomes, what should they do? And, well, let's just say bishop g5 isn't it. Definitely he wants to keep this bishop here as long as possible. Right? As long as possible. h6 would be fine. Rook c7. Now, one bummer is when you do play h6, he is going to be encouraged to play bishop f4. Oh my gosh, what a terrible move. Queen f6, e3. Now, yes, you're worse than everything, but there's hope all of a sudden. Now, you talk about queen f5. Also, queen d8. Hasn't he completely lost his mind? What has he done? What has he done? You're getting the pawn back. You're getting the pawn. Oh, oh. That's definitely premature. Rook c8. This loses time. Was down to 10 minutes on the clock. Right. Rook c2, maybe. G6. There you go, g6. That if I was down under 10 minutes, g6 would be my default move. Okay. Queen d7. Nice move. Queen e6, then win another pawn. Now we're truly toast. Uh-oh. Rook c1, you found it, buddy. You found it. Oh, very nice move, man. Welcome to the dojo. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. And this is interesting. You say this is clearly, or a small advantage for black. It's actually a very interesting position. Yeah, I think this is a good example of a fortress position where white can put the pawns, the rook here and the pawn here, let's say, and it's hard to imagine us being able to break through. Okay, so king g2, they're not willing to admit it. Bang! Bang! Beautiful. And now we should mate. Do you mate? Well, maybe you don't need to be that fancy. Dang! Well, this is how This is how Suspended got his FIDE rating. That was beautiful. Let me just say, too, I think Rook C1 that's what I would call an advanced tactic. A friend of mine, Dana McKenzie, termed this the hook and ladder trick. So if you imagine this is a ladder, this is a hook that's pulling the ladder from white. No, so that was great, man. That was great. And you were in time pressure, and he blundered. Look at that. Dude, for somebody in the 500 cohort to beat a 1700, that 1700 FIDE is no chump, man. Holy moly. Okay, beautiful. Well done. Next up, we have Randy A. Let's see what's going on. Fix the screen, buddy. Fix the screen. Randy A has not been logging their business. Let's see, dojo points. Nope. They've been here for a while. Hasn't done anything. Clubs. Oh, this is the Patterson Clippers, dude. Okay, let me tell the story. So the Patterson Clippers are a team. Well, let me even back up a little bit more. I am personally obsessed with scholastic teams. This happens mostly in America, where you have scholastic teams. And European clubs. Europeans don't really do the things with the clubs, with the school clubs. They have like their own like teams. I'm obsessed that the European clubs and the American scholastic teams get their own scoreboard, join the dojo, and when I click on, say, Patterson Clippers, then they can see their own progress, who's been doing what. Now, this is a little bit interesting, and Randy's the first graduate that I've seen here so far, because their coach, this guy Barron, is he is kind of, as I understand it, right? Like he has them in his class, like his chess club, and then they come in and they do the dojo requirements, but most of them, I think, aren't logging their points and score. So, for example, here we're not seeing a huge dojo score, but I think they are doing a lot more work than's being represented right here. Okay, let's go back. Boom. This is Randy. So, Randy, if you're listening to this thing, I imagine I'm huddled in front of a screen instead of going to school. Maybe it's lunch hour over there, and they're watching this right now. So, maybe they're watching. What do we want? We want Randy to start logging the points and the hours over here. See what they're doing. Do we have a game? No. And we want Randy for you to annotate a game. Coach Barron, he's going to help you with that, dude. And yeah. By the way, they have been crushing. They've been using the dojo, and they've been crushing all of the local tournaments. Sometime in the next spring, I think, is when the city championships are. And it's this classic story, dude, of like the kids from the rough high school, which is the Patterson Clippers, kind of like the kind of place I went to school, where you might get your teeth knocked in at some point, They're going against the fancy kids, the Baltimore Polytechnic. And last year, dude, they were using the dojo and gave him the hammer, dude. They gave him the hammer. So, I'm on these kids' side, man. I don't want those fancy kids to win. All right, Randy, congratulations. Hopefully, we're going to see you again, dude. As long as you start keeping up with this heat map and the games, we're going to see you again. Next up is KW Team. Really just learning the program. I've played and annotated 2 games, but I'm really excited about this approach to learning chess. Beautiful. So we're going to give KW Team a follow. Just started, we started in May, but just started now logging the business over here. Maybe I'll go dojo points. Yeah. Okay. So we got this going on. We got some tests happening. That all seems very consonant with where he's at chess-wise too. Got any clubs? No. Games. We got, he said 2, but I see 1. Boom. Ugh, the Sicilian. Don't worry about the Sicilian. So here we got the time graph. And the first thing we're going to say is, it's our usual thing. People are moving too fast. It's always at least comforting to me when the dojo player moves a little slower, right? That's great. Now, at this point, right, let's read what you're saying. Ugh, the Sicilian. I have some opening training, but only the first handful of moves. Don't play the Grand Prix. I decided to proceed with the system. Okay, but to change how I'm thinking, I'll make sure I'm following opening principles. Good? Great. Let's see how it goes. Fine, 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 fine. Good. Bishop G4. And you write, okay, here's a move to think about. But I'm definitely on my own. Here you play Queen E1. I think that's mostly fine. The simple move is just H3 and say, do you want to give me your bishop? Which I guess they're going to give you the bishop. Queen E1. Queen C8, weird. Right? Okay, and now you play a frisky move, Knight G5. I think this is going to work as long as you play H3 next. Castles. Queen H4. Now, maybe Queen H4. I like H3 just because the bishop doesn't have any great place to go. It's true, though, that you're following a plan. Following a plan. Now, I think they need to, well, it's a little bit of an interesting question about what they do here. H5, that wasn't it. Okay, now you play Knight D5, which I don't like as much. Yeah, you have several interesting moves here, and the one that appeals to me most has everything, it's a tactic, but has everything to do with development. Okay, so notice, whenever you put the pawn here, the dream is that you're going to have this guy developed, you know, because F4 doesn't really develop anybody. This is what we call the dream of Federico the F pawn. So we're always looking to push that baby. Frees the bishop, activates the rook, creates a vicious threat of F takes G, and also we're going to win the bishop now. The bishop is gone. He's gone. Okay, so Knight D5. Knight B4. Good. A5. Let's play something like A3. H3. Okay. And now you go for the gold, the G4. Now this one, maybe. Okay. You're going for it, man. That's pretty good. Whoo, bishop H6. And now you hit him with ye old F5. I like F5 a lot. I think that's a great move. Beautiful move. Bishop takes is also strong, but here you're threatening Queen G6. A4, do you find Queen G6? Yes, sir. Yeah, he resigns immediately. Dang. Dang. Well done, sir. Well done. Welcome to the dojo. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And what I want you to see, let's talk about this a little bit. One of the reasons to not study openings here at this level is your opponents are going to do weird things, right? Like Queen C8, that didn't make any sense, right? H5, that didn't make any sense. Knight B4 kind of makes some sense, but a little frisky. And A5, it's like he's not addressing his problems, right? So, very high level game, and you can see that to beat these players, you just need to stay. I mean, obviously, there's the tactics is going to be number one. And when I say tactics, again, I'm not talking about anything fancy. I'm talking about not hanging stuff. But number two is going to be just staying ahead in development, because they're going to give you time. They're going to give you a lot of time. Okay, let's keep it moving. So I go grad show, I go back, I cancel. Now we have the famous Amgazabab, who has graduated numerous times. I'm pretty sure Amgazabab is in the book. I have a terrible memory when it comes to that kind of thing, but we just launched this book, How to Analyze Your Games. I've got a vid out right now. In fact, I'm going to post it in both chats. I'm going to post this bad boy in both chats. We're streaming this on YouTube as well. Bang. And I just did this vid to kind of promote the book. You can check it out, learn more about the book, but you can also just buy that book. Buy that book, man. Write a review. We need help with the reviews, getting the word out. Let's see how my vid's doing. We'll just briefly do a little check. Oh, it's doing terrible, dude. It's doing terrible. It's only got 182 views. Oh, no one wants to see this thing, dude. No one wants to see this thing. Well, that's why I need you guys to go watch that. First up, we have Amgazabab. Like I said, I believe he's in the book. Beautiful heat map there, Amgazabab. Beautiful. That looks great. Okay. So, 928, you can see, graduated numerous times. Has done the tactics. Tactics look commensurate for where he's at. Clubs. Right? Great. Games. We got all kinds of games. Let's look at this one. Bang. Let's click. Then we'll go over here. No, not that one. This one. Oh, no, my friends. Can we just talk about this disease for a second? Now, again, the dojo player is less guilty than the other player. The other player just playing it like it was a bullet game. All right, so this opponent's significantly higher rated. He plays too fast, right? Now, one of the things to say obvious, and he's counting it as a blunder game. By the way, that's great. When we have certain time control minimums that we want you to use half of your time to count it. And the point was very simple, is that we did not want this kind of situation. And I get it that when your opponent's playing super fast, it's hard to slow down yourself, right? And it's a little unnerving. I get it. The higher rated you become, the less of these jumps you're going to play. Also, if you play in the dojo, either the Dojo Liga or the Dojo Round Robin, you'll play people that they know I'm going to yell at them. They know I'm going to yell, so they're going to actually have a little bit more chess culture when they play you. All right, back to game review. Boom. Fine. A little weird. Fine. Fine. Right. C3. Okay. Now, what we're saying with C3 is that we're terrified of knight G4. And honestly, I think it's a fine move because you're going to shut down that guy's bishop. Bishop G5. Okay. Queen D6. Let's play knight D2. D4. Blunder. Looking for the center of the board and threatening a double attack. I'm not too worried about the E4 pawn because I see... No. That pawn is a big deal. He gave you a pawn. You don't just give him the pawn. Play knight D2. You got knight C4 on the way. You could play D4 next. You're doing great. Oh, no, you gave him the pawn. And then you did that. So, all right, he takes, and you say that's a mistake. I don't know. This is very frightening, I think, for white, because this bishop will now eventually get opened. Bishop F5. I like that less. I think bishop E6 is better. Bishop G4. Now, what are they doing? They're losing time. Right? Losing time. Now, you do something fancy here. Check. It's not check. This is the check. And D8. And I think you're right that King F8 makes more sense. And you say G3. Now, by the way, this to me is very scary. And what you need to see, okay, is that you have failed to develop your knight. And so at this point, they should definitely consider C5. They should be thinking about breaking this guy out. But instead, they're thinking about the pawn. Now, please play knight D2 for me. Thank you. Whew. F5. Should they be playing C5 to fix their bishop? Yes, they should. Good move. Queen D5. Okay, now you have knight E3. Good move. And now you have knight takes g4 if you want. You have other moves too. Good move. And now you're just up a pawn. You got all the coconuts. Knight takes f6. Thank you very much. Check the miserable king. Knight c5. And the opponent gives up. What do you mean he gives up? What did he do? He's been playing it so fast, and now he's like, he's the biggest think of the game. 14 seconds. He's like, I give up. It's too much for me, man. It's too much. Incredible. Okay, so there it was. People moving too fast. I want to stress something that, your opponent has a little bit of compensation for the pawn here. Okay, just a little bit. But don't give the pawn back. No way, Moufray. No, we ain't giving that back. You get nothing, sir. No pawn for you. And also, let's just say you're playing a person who doesn't understand the value of development. They just gave you time and time and time. Okay, let's continue. Next up, we have Jerry Mack. And Jerry has missed us for a second. So let's go Jerry Mack. And these are the dojo points. We got hours of work. Jerry Mack hasn't been listing their stuff. Jerry Mack is at 1019, so 908. And the USCF is falling a little bit. That's consonant though, the ChessCom. And then is doing poor tactically. Though with a PR, this is okay. So it might be interesting for Jerry to do some tactics tests to see if this is a problem or not. Because you do have this nice 1100 rating for the Puzzle Rush 5-minute. Okay, Jerry. So I think Jerry's been struggling a little bit. And so we want to take some time to figure out what's going on. Just the first glance, it might be a tactical thing. Again, making 1000 is all about not hanging stuff. Mississippi Coast. I did meet Jerry, I believe, too. We had a tournament. I believe it was MLK weekend last year. I got invited to the same tournament this year. I don't think I'm going to make it, but I met Jerry and some other Chess Dojo people there. It was really cool. I need to get to play a tournament now. In fact, that's on my to-do list to look at the tournament schedule, and I have not been doing it. There's a nasty tournament after Christmas. There's a nasty tournament I might play it. Okay, games. Here we go. This is Billups Allen. All right, let's give this a click. Wait, Jerry, let me just say one thing. You're not logging your business, bud. I know you're doing more than this, but you're not logging it. And I think once you get in the habit of logging your stuff, well, that's just a good thing. Senior State Championship. Great. Okay, so we'll mark this. Okay, so I encourage you to write down the times and then enter them. Sounds tedious, helpful though. All right, we're going to go game review. Fine. Okay. Fine. Okay. Rook e8, poor. Now, why is black playing rook e8? Because they are terrified that you will be exchanging your good bishop, right? But really, it's a complete loss of time. What would have been better? Knight c6. All right, now I want you to castle. Good move. a6, a little slow. g4, good. h4 is also a strong move. e5, poor. Now the d6 pawn is totally weak. Fine. And now let's take d6. Oh. I have a feeling you were so obsessed with h4 that you weren't seeing that pawn on d6. It's a very useful coconut, right? h5, now we can play g5 and then take on d6. Let's see what happens. Snip. You're still not taking. Okay, now, at this stage, we might say to ourselves, Kraai, will you stop talking about the d6 pawn and maybe talk about winning the rook? Because queen d5 check looks pretty good. Whack. Loss of time. Thank you. Thank you. And now you did it. Beautiful. And now you have a completely winning position. Completely. Completely. You're killing. Rook e6. Not great. Rook d8 looks very strong now. Rook d2. Okay. Rook e8. Loss of time. Knight d5. Good move. Rook f8. Loss of time. Rook g2. I chose to attack. Rook g2 is not a bad move. Rook a7. Rook g1. Very nice. No, that's annoying. I have to admit, I might not have seen that myself. So now you played rook g3 and have to discombobulate yourself a little bit. We're still doing great. He helps us. Rook g4, fine. Fine. Great. Knight d4, good move. Okay. Nothing doing. I like that you went to king d2. We could do it with some annotations here, especially on the state of the time. This is not, even at a GM level, what we want to say about a position like this is a lot of care is required. Good move. Poor, his knight's not going anywhere. I don't know what that does. Okay. Okay. And now you just want to be a trading machine. Not the worst strategy. Okay. Boom. Okay. Good. Oh, no. Well, hold on. Hold on, Jerry. Hold on, bud. He had GF4. Oh, no. See, this is what I mean by all our hard work going to waste. Now, it's not over yet because we can play King F2, but the milk has gone not where it wanted to be. You know what I mean? Because, I don't know. He can fight on maybe with Rook C8. But that isn't it, and now you're crushing him. Even F5 I'm not totally thrilled with because he's got this move. Okay, and you write that. Okay, so Jerry, I think this was actually, first of all, a good game. And your notes are pretty good. And notice that your opponent is losing time everywhere. Rook e8, a6. And while e5 doesn't technically lose time, it really is a terrible move. Because it opens up this pawn to attack. It closes this bishop down. Right? And g5 looks fine. And queen d6 here is fine. f6 was a terrible move. So you're missing some stuff tactically as well. But you did good. This is not a bad game. So you should feel reasonable about this game. And you can see, like, you imagine it this way, is that if you just make one mistake less here, right, especially that f4 one, then that's 100 points, 100, 200 points right there. Okay. Well, Neil, I'm looking forward to seeing more of your journey. I know it's a hard one, and I empathize with it. I'm in the senior class too, bro. I'm in the senior class. Okay. King's Gambit is a perfectionist and a sore loser. Yep. Okay. Now, what I remember from King's Gambit, because I looked at King's Gambit's profile just very recently, was that he's got a lot of white going on. That's how I remember it. Yeah, and he's my spiritual homie here, even though he's younger than me, because he's lifting weights, he's reading some stuff, he's out there biking and barbecuing. Yeah, there we go. There we go. So, congratulations. Okay, 9:15, great. I remember, I don't know what the occasion was, but recently I was looking at your profile, and I was like, oh, King's Gambit needs to be just focusing on the program. All right. So this is a problem over here. And I think if I remember right, it was like you made a comment somewhere about the need to do other tactics or something like that. And I was like, Bows, right here. Right here. This is a tactical problem that we have going on. And again, when I say tactics at the under 1,000 level, I'm generally talking about people hanging their business, right? So let's dig into one of these games here. We've got a clubs. And I think, right, he's been doing some chess step stuff, which isn't terrible, but if you just trust the program, you know, we're going to get there. By the way, these things, I think it's great if you set yourself a goal of making your cohort level in all of these requirements, right? That's just a simple goal and be like, I want to make it to my cohort strength, right? All of these things. All right, clubs. We did that. Games. Smeargle the Goat. And this was played and done pretty recently. And here we go. We're going to say we mark this. Do we have a clock? Oh, no. Oh, no. Now, you know, the theme is there that we got in the under 1,000s, that we see a lot of people not taking their time. But today, let's just say it's been a little extreme. Hey, Dojo. It's been a little extreme today, bud. It's been a little extreme today with these graphs, huh? What are we doing? Okay, here we go. Fine. Okay, so bishop c4. A6. Poor. Loss of time. Good. A little weird. Good move. Fine. h6. Poor. And I like this. So bishop e3, you could do a variety of things, but you took your time, 2 minutes, and you just developed. Fine. Good. We're just developing. And now g5. Now, something tactically that we should be aware of is that despite the fact that black has broken all of the rules of chess, I am concerned about c5 and c4. Yeah, that scares me a little bit. Now, maybe we're going to be fine with this sack, but it's more complicated than black deserves. Black deserves death, and they don't deserve any of this. So I think on a tactical level, this is the kind of thing we want to be ultra aware of. Just move it back, and your development is amazing. You're doing amazing, right? Okay, so poor move gives you the f5 square. Let's put a rook on d1. f4. Good move. I like it. Fine. We're opening the position when we are up in time. Good move. Again, not developing. Beautiful. There we go. Queen d7. Terrible move. Thank you very much. Oh, look at this. Let's bishop f5 him right now. Bang. Let's knight e6 him. Bang. There we go, buddy. Smeargle the Goat. Oh, I didn't change the seed. Oh, Hasta, how come you didn't tell me? Submarine Mike, how come you didn't tell me? Oh, man. All right, I'm going to run through it, but you guys all remember the beautiful things that I said. So, let me just say a couple of things. You're playing an opponent that's giving you time. And the only key mistake I'm seeing here is you should have played that bishop e2 is a little bit just careful, because on bishop b3 we're concerned about this little trick. Right? But black is totally just not aware of anything. And I said rook a1, but your move was much better, f4. Much better. Open him up. And then he fails to develop. And then his knight, this whole thing is happening. And just queen d7. Now, is your opponent moving super fast? Yeah. Yeah, they are. Now, you guys, listen, I've become much better at it, okay? I've become much better. This was this beautiful finish with the scenes, okay? So just, first of all, just give me a little credit. I know I don't really deserve credit. Just give me a little credit, though. And look at this nice finish. Bang. Oh, what was I going to say in my defense? I don't know if I have any defense. Anyways, I've gotten better. I've gotten better at it. I get in the flow. That's what I wanted. That was my excuse. I get in the flow. I'm talking about the position. It's hard, you know, it's hard. And then when I finish, then I'll look over. There's a little bit. Okay. So, here we go. That was the famous King Ambit. And now Ben Hedges, also famous. Now we're going to switch this over here. I had to take a few months off of chess and my dojo work starting in May as I had begun working 15 to 17 hour days. Oh no. And then job hunting. Finally got a new job in October, but did not say playing again when I caught COVID in November. Sitting around my house with nothing to do, I realized I should just start doing mating 1s and 2s again. And after signing back into the dojo, I realized I needed to undergraduate 2 cohorts due to the rating conversion adjustment and my stagnant rating dropping below the threshold after I had recently graduated before my break. Played a bunch of games in the open lead chess pool, which has bumped my rating back up as they were all fairly straightforward wins. Inspired by the recent WC match, I'm determined to make the best of 2025. Going to try and have a perfect heat map for the year, okay? And I am really going to dedicate some time to playing OTB. Recently played this game in the round robin, and while I squeaked out a draw, I felt good enough about some of my play and thought process that I am going to graduate up as my lead chess rating suggests me to do. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to just grab this bad boy right here. And when the time comes, actually the time is now, but we want to look at his profile here for a second too. So we're going to first look at Ben's profile. And yeah, we got a perfect heat map. Now, Ben, does it count as perfect when it's non-dojo? He's doing some non-dojo work. Let's go see what he's doing. Let's go see what is this non-dojo? That might be like watching Twitch or something, you know? Over here, tactics, openings, great players of the past. Watch Jesse on Twitch, dude. There we go, Ben. You're doing it right. There you go, buddy. Watch Jesse on Twitch. That can't be so bad. King's Gambit is in the YouTube chat, and I just got to say I'm sorry about that. Did I blow it? I blew it. I blew it. But hopefully I made it good for you. Oh, I blow it. I used to blow it more often, and I've just gotten, it's just got to be said. I got this Stream Deck thing that Quad XE made me buy, and my internet rating, my computer rating went from about 600. I graduated, dude. I went up to like 700 maybe, you know, like 600 to 700. I made a big qualitative improvement. Okay. Oh, no. So, here we go. Let's look at some, oh, and then we have the game already. Wait, first I want to go clubs, the Chicago Dojo. That's beautiful. See, now one of the things, actually, we had an earlier question about finding a training partner. The best way, for sure, has got to be in these local area clubs. Because you think about a place like Chicago, you're not going to know all the people who are in the dojo. But then you click on this bad boy and you're like, oh, these people are right around me. I'm going to contact this person, and boom. You know, you could start doing some in real life stuff. And then not only that, but you'll like see them at the tournament, you know, hang out, yada, yada. Okay, so we're not going to do any of these games. We're going to do this one. And first thing we're going to do, we're going to go to time graph, and we're going to begin with the shame. Now, the good news is I think our player, Sherbs here, is doing black. In their time graph, we can't complain too much, right? But their opponent's time graph, oh, no, buddy. Oh, no, there we go. Now, I'm not going to forget. Boom. So, all right. Dojo round robin. Now, let me just say, Mariko's in the round robin. Mariko, shame on you for moving so fast. Dojo round robin, by the way, beautiful thing. I think it's really great. Gukesh inspired me to play this all the way out. Dude, I was thinking about this, and I talked about it a little bit on the commentary and everything. Oh, somebody, whether you want to call him world champion or not, somebody at the top does something. It has this ricochet effect all the way down. When Magnus started playing those endgames out, well, the chump GMs did too, And now all of a sudden, people are just going to start playing out worse positions. They don't care. They just want to fight it out, man. Okay, so boom, boom. Good so far. Good. E5. Okay. Here Black thought for almost 5 minutes, attempting to solve the problem of knight b3. I think knight b3 is probably not the word you mean. Okay. To my mind, just the basic question is, does bishop c4 slay you? I guess you're going to play queen e4. Maybe get away with that. So e5 is a very ambitious move, and definitely e6 or something like that is more sober. Knight c6 as well. Okay, so here we go. Bishop c4. You got to give a check now. Queen e2. And king f1 exclam. Yeah, it's a problem. So you're down in time and your queen is chump. It definitely takes some courage to play king f1 here. And I don't think you're like 100% lost, Maybe you could play, you talk about h6, maybe bishop e6 or something. This, there's a little problemito and casito over here. So, you talk about h6. Let's focus on the game, though. Queen e2, snip, bishop e2. Now, in general, this is a mistake. Dude should take back with the king because now we're in the end game. So, standard mistake, bishop d6, double question mark. Is it really a double question mark, though? I have my doubts. King e7. And then you talk about d4. But it's only a double question mark, this bishop d6 move, if you are knocking him out or you getting knocked out, right? So you talk about e4. I like e4 a lot. Good move. But this one isn't a double question mark is when you blunder something. And so far, and d4 maybe is better, but you're doing fine here. You're doing okay. D e5. Now, this is a little scary for you. I get it, but just e4. You're okay. It's not crushing you. Now, though, this scares me. Right? This scares me. And now you say king e7. Now, let me just stress, both players, especially Mariko, are playing like it was a bullet game. And okay, he talks about king e6 because king e7 is blowing a full piece. Played with 12 seconds. Can we just return to the time graph for a second? This is move 15. No, not even thinking. Okay. Not even thinking. And Mariko, dude. Oh, man. That was a complicated position, Mariko. I didn't know what you were supposed to do. Slow it down, buddy. Okay. Roger Wizards asks, how do you use dojo clubs to find training partners, though? Well, I talked a little bit about it earlier. We have this calendar that you can go to, and people post when they're available. That's the main way. Okay, so definitely a blunder. Now we're toast, I guess. Let's see if White gave you a chance. Looks bad so far. Okay, I don't know. Definitely, I think I wouldn't have allowed him to take on G2, but of course he's still murdering you here. This game's lasting too long. This game's lasting too long. What are we doing? King F3. Okay, so now we have some practical chances to survive this thing. Mariko, if you're watching, bud, this is happening to you because you're moving too fast. Of course you're still winning here. That doesn't make sense. Why is the king going to the side of the board? Okay. Mariko's just, okay, B4 is the wrong color, and now black can hope to create some kind of blockade. White has lost the plot and is risking losing the pawns. Okay. But you could think about things as well to do here. Okay, now I don't like what white is doing at all. King C4 now, good. King D5. Why aren't we playing King B3 to get active? Whoa. Rook takes E5. Well, now we're holding this bad boy. And now he just helps you in. By the way, why aren't we going in to be active? Terrible move, B5. Now you just got nothing. Mariko, buddy, you're moving too fast. Slow down, you move too fast. You gotta make the morning last. Now, you guys had a longer chat after the game. Look at that chat. You had a longer chat after the game than it took Mariko to move. And at no point is Mariko saying, oh, dang, I could have moved slower. I could have moved a little slower. You guys, look at this time graph. Look at this thing. Mariko, you're killing me, buddy. You're killing me. I can't take it. Ah. You gotta make the morning last now. All right. Grad show. We're out of here. Boom. Boom. And now we go to Ved. We got 2 more people here today. Ved, what do you got to say for yourself, bud? Ved looks like they just showed up and they just graduated, so we might not see any games. No games. Okay. But welcome to the dojo, Ved. Happy you're here. If you watch this stream, you know what to do. Next up, we have Matt Chess Play. This is my first graduation on the dojo. I think my actual rating is around 18, 19, similar to my rapid. Anyway, I'm happy, more than happy to graduate to the next cohort. My focus this week is tactics and some middle game and game puzzles. Looking to spar/play some games with you all. I've posted my profile on the Discord. Find training partner. Feel free to DM me. Cheers, Mateo. This is what I'm saying. If you want a training partner, which you should have, this little step that Mateo's taken, an example. The stream of shame. Oh, Mariko's here. Yeah. Yeah, Roger. We are well aware of the Soviet chess primer. We got better resources though. By the way, now we're going to start the new year. You know, we do a revamp. Not really a revamp, but you know, every year we do think deeply about what we recommend for each cohort. We take feedback as well. So if somebody says, "Hey, Soviet chess primer, amazing, man, that should be in the X cohort," well, we'll definitely put it down on our list of suggestions. And then we have a big talk. We yell at each other, scream, fight. And in general, we want to do that just once a year so that, you know, you have that mental space where you can think about it. Okay, so here we go. This is Matt Chess Play. Boom. Let's open this up. Adult Improver, looking good. Came here at the beginning of this week, or a week ago. Has been using the heat map. Looks great so far. Do we got some clubs? European, Ostdeutschland. Okay. So, the Germans, dude, when it comes to like dedication on the heat map, they are winning. The Europeans in general win, but the Germans, when it comes to the dedication and getting it done, they're getting it done. I'm going to give Matt a follow. So, let's see if Matt's got any games. A bunch, dude. He's been here a week. He's already got all this much. Now, we're going to skip the 7-move game, and we're going to go to the game with the longest time control here. He's playing up. It's a high. Oh, wait. Now, I don't want to go. Let's just see if Matt has a game where it's a little bit better annotations. So, Matt, let me just say something. This is true for basically everybody. The first time you annotate a game, it can well happen that you're just like, I don't know what to say, and it doesn't seem like there's any questions. We talk about this in our book, by the way. Let me just post this beautiful YouTube video that I just did on the book. I'll post it in both chat. And we were asked a bunch. We were like, how do you improve your games? Give us more detailed instructions. So, we wrote some essays on it. But the most important thing is we, put 5 beautifully annotated games from each cohort in this book. Go check it out. It was a lot of work. And anyways, one of the things that I said in my little essay was that it's very typical, regardless of level, whether you're a GM or not, whatever. If you are just starting the process of game analysis, most GMs had to do some game analysis to get there. But I'm just saying, even the higher rated players, if they haven't done it before, their analysis will often look a little bit like Matt's is looking, where there's not a lot of questions going on. Let's see if he's got more on Flickr here, against Flickr. Okay, so light annotations, and we'll go through this and you can kind of see what I mean. First, let's see some times. Oh, the shame. Oh, man. Matt. All right, well, this is the therapy you came for. The therapy you came for. So notice it took you longer to do the brief annotations that you did than the actual moves it took you to play them. The graph of shame, Pepper Chess says. Yeah, there it is. Look at that thing. Okay. Whew. All right, so game review. All right, here we go. So first thing is, Matt knows some fancy openings. Probably not helpful to where Matt is right now. So for example, on h6, the normal move here is to play g4. But in order to know to play g4, well, you have to know what the whole ideas behind this fancy h4 move are. Because now knight f3 makes no sense. The whole point is this fantastically convoluted idea here, e6. It's very advanced. It's a beautiful idea. I cover it in my course, Aggressive Repertoire for White. You can find it on Chessable and our site. In any case, knight f3 now makes no sense. Good move by black. They trade off your good bishop and they say thank you very much. Queen b3, I don't know what that does. Queen b6, fine. Boom, boom. Now, the main feature, they should take with the pawn, by the way. The knight is fine where it is, and the pawn will open the rook. The main feature, Matt, that I want you to see is you gotta move slower, buddy. All right, here we go. Knight b6, bishop b3. This invites knight c4. Knight f5, good move. Bishop f4, okay. Castles, good. Now notice, the problem is the knight is actually stronger than your bishop. Rook c8, I don't like it. Now you could have popped him. Away. Snip. Okay, c3. I still want you to pop him away with g4. Now, I said that, but I think I lied, because your opponent now makes a very nice move. It wasn't possible before, but here it is, and yeah, it's all of a sudden a little bit unpleasant. So rook c4, I'll give that move an exclam. Good move by your opponent. Played with 42 seconds, Roger Wizard asked, what is the downside of that book, The Soviet Chess Primer? First of all, there's loads of great books out there. Loads of great books. And one of the things, I would say if our program has a weakness, it's that we have a little too much material, right? We have too much material. And so every time that we add a book, we have to take away a book. And there's a lot of great books that are not in the program. That is not because they're not good. That's just because we don't want to overwhelm the user with too many books. And the goal of the program is to say, if you are stuck and you do all of the things here that we lay out, then you will make it to the next level. That's the goal of the program. And so, of course, we could just add a gazillion things, but that's not the intuition behind the training program. Okay, here we go. So they won a pawn. And knight c4 scares me very much. So fe, f3, okay. Now, knight c4 scares me. Okay. Good move. Well, that wasn't a good move. That wasn't a good move. Oh, I missed it too. I was just so happy that you were bringing your rook in. Yeah, we're toast. So, but this is a bad move. We're in a bad situation, by the way. And now we're done. Yeah, he's just cranking us pretty good here. What are you saying here? You're saying, oh, rook e1. This is the critical line I missed. Good. Okay. Good move. Good move. Yeah. Good annotation, too. So this is the kind of thing that we want you to be looking for. And when you do, this is one of the things about going over your games. When you realize that you're going too fast, that should slow you down. But also just when you're going through the games and realize some of the things that are available to you, you'll say to yourself during the game, you're like, right, there might be a way out of this nasty fork that I fell into, and maybe I can find it. Okay, great. So, Montax has a question. I have a question because I'm playing the Queen's Gambit, and after opening, I don't know what to play. Is there any book that I can learn about it, or games, or some masters about the Queen's Gambit? Yes, there's loads, and I think Pepper Chess's question about your rating is just meant to say, you know, you don't want to be going crazy with the openings until, I would say, like the program says, it's like until you're like 1,200, you shouldn't be worrying about it. Okay, you guys, I got to get out of here. That was very nice. Go check out the vid. I'll post it again in El Chat. Boom. And there we go. Tomorrow, we're going to have the over 1,000. Yeah, we're going to have the over 1,000. And we will continue it there. My friends, I'm out of here.